Good evening. We'd like to reconvene the December 7th, 2021 legislative session of the Wicomico County Council. We had to meet at 3 o'clock to vote on bond bill. It was the only time that we could, so we all had to come in early, so now we're reconvening. This time I'd like to call the meeting to order with the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, and you can join us if you wish. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time we're going to offer a couple of proclamations. We'd like to start with the Parkside High School soccer team, so if we could bring them in here. You should have heard them coming up the stairwell. If you would, line everybody up against the window behind us. And coaches, stand close. And line up behind us. Might have to start sending some down that way, too. Nope. Yeah, don't send them that far. Just kind of tighten them up here.
Something good that way.
This way. Down this way, guys.
Yeah.
Little soccer players. So we've got coaches, players, principals, vice coaches, Board of Ed members. I see the state trophy behind me. So it's a great honor to offer this proclamation to both Parkside and Bennett High School. Bennett will be coming in a minute, but I believe this is the first trophy that you guys have won. The soccer team has brought back a state championship for soccer. That was great. How many years has that been? Yes, Coach.
At least 46.
46. So that's a great honor.
I also want to say, I've been doing some research. I don't think
Come on up here.
there's ever been two teams from the same county in different classifications win the state championship.
Yes,
So I think that's a really great accomplishment for
it is. This is definitely something to be proud of for Wicomico County. And on behalf of the Wicomico County Council and the citizens of Wicomico County, we are very proud of you. So we offer this proclamation. It's with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council and the acting county executive extend this proclamation to the Parkside High boys soccer team for winning the 2A state championship. We congratulate the team and the coaches for your accomplishments for earning the title of the 2A state champions for 2021. Done the 7th day of December, 2021, signed by the acting county executive and the entire county council. And again, we are so proud of you. Yes.
Well, I didn't really have anything planned, so I apologize. But just thank you all for all the support. The city of Salisbury, as kind of this season, we were excited to have the opportunity to come back last year with the COVID situation and be able to compete in playoffs. Everything goes out to these guys. Since day one when we started, you could just tell there was a different feel in the air back being able to compete at that final level for that ultimate prize. So everything, all the credit goes to them. They put in the hard work all season long. Us as coaches, we couldn't ask for anything more from them. So thank you guys.
Can you walk in front of the podium?
Want to get in front of the podium?
Yeah. Good. Good.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Oh, yeah. No, it's not kids. Yeah. Might be one thing that helps you.
Yeah,
Keep fresh legs out there all the time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Now, if we could bring the Bennett boys in and their families. Hey, John. Yeah, just line up behind us. We're gonna spread out evenly if you could.
Bigger.
If some of you guys could go down.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Like a basketball team.
Got that trophy, I see it. All right. Did y'all notice he brought the trophy as well? Got some proud young men here. You guys have made Wicomico County proud. I mean, it's so great to see Parkside and Bennett bring home state soccer championships. So, on behalf of the Wicomico County Council and the citizens of Salisbury, it's with great pleasure that the members of the Wicomico County Council and the Acton County Executive extend this proclamation to the James M. Bennett High School boys soccer team for winning the 3A state championship. We congratulate the team and the coaches for your accomplishments for earning the title of 3A state champions for 2021. Done this 7th day of December 2021. Signed by the Acton County Executive and the entire County Council. So. Speech.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Sir. Do the speech and then we'll take a picture with the.
Okay. And we want to say congratulations to Parkside. Coach Bronco and I were just talking. He played for Coach Hall. And when I was in 8th grade, we went and rooted for Parkside in their state tournament then. So to see him win is awesome. And we're really happy for them. It just shows how good the shore is. And I don't know, we're just honored to coach these guys here, this motley crew. We counted up today, we had parents from 12 different birth countries on this team. So they all came together. I don't know where else in the world that can happen, but here. But we're so proud of these guys, and thanks for having us. So appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Squeeze it, Lewis.
Yeah, and then come up front with the trophy. Thank you. Good seeing you. Thanks for that. Yes. What a great honor for Wicomico County. Ms. Hurley?
Hey Okay, good evening, Mr. President, council members, ladies and gentlemen. The first order of business this evening is the election of officers pursuant to Charter Section 303, which states, "At its first meeting in December of each year, the council shall elect from among its members by a vote of the majority of the total number of council members established by this charter, a president and a vice president. The president, or in his absence, the vice president, shall establish the agenda and preside at all meetings. On all questions before the council, the president and vice president shall have and may exercise the vote to which each is entitled as a council member. Tonight is the election of the president and vice president. We will start with the nominations of president. Are there any nominations for president?
I'll make a nomination. I'll nominate John Cannon for president.
I'll make a nomination. I'll nominate Larry Dodd for president.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none. Since there are multiple nominations, we will do the vote by roll call, and we'll do it by the nominee's last name, alphabetical order by last name. So we'll start with John Cannon first, and we'll have the vote done by roll call, starting with Mr. McCain. Aye. If you're in favor, say aye. If you oppose, say nay.
Aye.
Ernie?
Aye.
Mr. Holloway?
Nay.
Mr. Dodd?
Nay.
Ms. Ackley?
Nay.
Mr. Hastings?
Aye.
Mr. Cannon?
Aye.
You sure?
Yeah.
The vote passes.
This year's a tiebreaker.
The vote passes with 4 in favor and 3 opposed. Mr. President, if you want, you can do the nominations for vice president.
Okay. Continuing on, I'd like to open the floor with a reminder that no second is necessary for nominations. The floor is now open for nominations for the office of vice president. Are there any nominations for the office of vice president?
I'd like to nominate Ernie Davis.
We have Ernie Davis. Are there any more nominations for vice president?
I'll nominate Ms. Ackley.
We have Ms. Ackley. Are there any more nominations? Seeing none, that closes the nominations for the office of vice president. Beginning in alphabetical order, we'll proceed with the elections for the office of vice president. We will go also with a roll call. This would be for Ms. Ackley first. We start with Councilman McCain.
Nay.
Councilman Davis. Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
Councilman Dodd.
Aye.
Councilman Ackley, excuse me.
Aye.
Councilman Hastings.
Nay.
And as Councilman Cannon, I vote nay. Next, we have Councilman Ernie Davis. All those in favor of Ernie Davis, again, we'll start with alphabetical order, starting with Mr. McCain.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Holloway.
Nay.
Mr. Dodd.
Nay.
Mrs. Ackley.
Nay.
Mr. Hastings.
Aye.
And John Cannon, I vote aye. Congratulations, Mr. Davis.
Congratulations. Mr. Cannon, would you like to switch seats?
Certainly. That'd be good. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, President Dodd and Vice President outgoing.
Thank you.
I'll make a statement a little bit later, but thank you. That's yours. I think I'm plugged in here. I have 2 more things to get, John.
As the council members are switching seats, I'll go ahead and introduce the next item for business on the agenda. The next item for business is a public hearing. This is on the proposed councilmanic redistricting map that was submitted by the redistricting committee.
Not sure.
We do have Mr. Frank McKenzie here, the GIS coordinator and chief technical services for the Wicomico County Department of Planning, Zoning, and Community Development, if there are any questions. And we also have the Chairwoman of the Redistricting Committee. She is in attendance this evening as well.
Thank you, Ms. Hurley. We will now open the floor for the proposed councilmatic redistricting map. If you have any comments you'd like to make, please come to the podium, state your name and your county of residence.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Rankin. I live in the 600 block of North Park Drive. The redistricting effort would change the district of my residence from District 3 to District 4. And I did not know about this proposed change until I saw it in the newspaper. And, Mr. President, I'm asking how, can someone give us an explanation of why this is coming about?
All right, John. If you could bring that mic a little closer to you or step a little closer because it's a little difficult to hear. I forgot to, did you mention that Mr. McKenzie is here tonight?
I did, yes.
So, Mr. McKenzie, normally in public hearings, we just have comments. It's not a question and answer.
Sure.
But I think in this instance, we'll be glad to make an exception and have Mr. McKenzie help you with your concerns. Could you repeat it again, John? Thank you.
The question was why we're looking to redistrict such a small slice of District 3 to put into District 4.
If you can just give him a couple of minutes to connect the laptop.
Sure.
Council President, maybe that would be explained in the presentation that the chairperson and Mr. McKenzie is going to give. Maybe that would be best explained in that.
Yeah, yes. You might be right, Joe. We do have a presentation from Mr. McKenzie.
Well, they actually gave the report to council on, at the last meeting.
Right.
We do intend to have a work session, or this will be brought back to council for approval. So there'll be further discussion at the December 21st county council meeting.
Okay.
And since this is not a question and answer forum, I yield the podium.
Yes, yeah, okay, yes. And that might be the best way to do it. We'll have comments and we'll register the questions as well so that we can address those during the work, either the work session or the discussion of the resolution. Any other comments? Sorry, Frank. Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing.
Sir, John?
Yes, sir. Yes, sorry. Mr. Basart.
If I wasn't sure where the best place was to make the comments, but since I'm here tonight, I'll do it tonight. I'm not interested in commenting on the redistricting plan before the council, but I'd like to say a few words about the current redistricting process, if I have your permission to do that. As you know, the redistricting process is outlined in the county charter, and as you know, this is charter review time. So I think the remainder of this year and early next year are a good time to consider changes in the redistricting process to ensure effective representation of the citizens of Wicomico County. Now, if changes were made in the process through charter review, the revised process, of course, would not be used until the next redistricting, which would be in 2031 after the 2030 census. Later this week, I will email a detailed proposal to all members of the council I presented to the Charter Review Committee in early October. At that meeting, the reaction was mixed. Some members seemed interested in making a change. Some saw no need to change, and some believed it was outside the review committee's charge for the county council. From the county council. On this last point, I disagree. The language in the charter states clearly that a charter review committee is to be appointed at least every 10 years, quote, for the purpose of reviewing the charter in full, and submitting recommendations to the county council, end quote. My redistricting proposal has two important features. First, it would strengthen the independence of the commission and encourage consensus decision-making. Quite frankly, this would reduce but not eliminate the role of the county council in redistricting. I recognize that. The new commission would have 9 members appointed by the county council, 3 members registered with the Republican Party, 3 registered with the Democratic Party, and 3 who are unaffiliated in their party registration. The commission's final draft plan, the one sent to the county council, would require the vote of at least 6 commission members. The second feature is expanded and prioritized criteria to follow in drawing lines. Of course, redistricting everywhere in the United States begins with the legal requirements of population equality and minority representation. Additional criteria, in order of priority, should include the following: district lines that avoid crossing municipal boundaries as much as possible, district lines that do not intentionally or actually increase or decrease the election chances of incumbents or candidates of a particular political party, and district lines that contain a connected geographic area. And I'm almost finished. Finally, I realize that it's possible to listen to all I've said and say, oh, he's a Democrat. He's just trying to elect more Democrats. That's not my purpose. If you examine the proposal that I will send you, if you examine it closely, you'll find it's very similar to Governor Larry Hogan's executive order that established the Maryland Citizens Redistricting Commission this year. Also, I'm speaking as a political scientist, now retired from Salisbury University, who spent considerable teaching and research time on redistricting. My first 2 articles were published in the National Civic Review in the early 1980s. The titles were The Nature of Representation, What the Court Guidelines Say, and Criteria. And the second article was Criteria for Redistricting, the Goal of Political Fairness. And since that time, I published 3 additional articles on partisan and incumbent effects in state legislative redistricting in professional political science journals. In closing, thank you very much for the time. I hope you will consider looking at ways to change the redistricting process in Wicomico County. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Basart. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the public comments on the proposed councilmatic redistricting map. I guess it will be council's decision, and Ms. Hurley, you could help me with this, whether or not this goes to another work session or resolution. It could go to a work session, or it could go to a resolution, and any issues the council may choose to discuss could be done during discussion of the resolution. Would that be correct?
That is correct. It is time sensitive, though. We need to get this information to the Board of Elections as soon as possible because they still have work on their end to do as well. If possible, I think the ideal situation would be to put it on as a resolution and have that discussion as part of the approval of the resolution.
Okay, is that satisfactory?
Yeah, I'd agree with Ms. Hurley's comment because we've had the work session that's been presented to us, and we can still discuss it, when it's on there as a resolution. So the opportunity for this discussion and to answer questions like Mr. Rankin posed can all still be addressed.
Okay. Joe?
No, I just wanted to thank the committee for what they did. Very low impact. I know, unfortunately, it looks like there's maybe 53 people out of all the voters in Wicomico County that were affected by this. I think that's right.
2.
Very little changes. They had to keep their numbers the same and equal, and they did that. And I'm sure that was a task, and you all spent a lot of time. So I think what you said about we'll just move forward to a vote and have a work session before that would be good.
Okay.
And I, too, would like to thank former council member, Ms. Barkovich, who's in the audience and chair of the redistricting committee. I think they did a great job with the numbers where it didn't affect many people. I think 52 or 53 was the number. So I think you guys did a great job. And then maybe we can have some reconsideration done for the next one, because this is time sensitive, like Ms. Hurley stated.
Any other comments? Ms. Barkovich, did you want to make any comments? No? Okay. All right. That being said, then we conclude the public hearing, by the way, and we will schedule this for the next meeting as a resolution. All right, great. Thank you, Ms. Hurley.
Mr. Cannon, or Mr. President, I believe that there was not a motion yet to accept the legislative minutes.
Okay, we can do that.
I make a motion.
Entertain a motion to approve the November 16, 2021 minutes.
So moved.
We have a motion, a second.
Second.
Discussion. No corrections. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Ms. Hurley.
Thank you. Next is a public hearing on resolution number 140-2021. This is to amend the fiscal year 2022 capital budget and fiscal year 2022-2026 capital improvement plan to reallocate fiscal year 21 PAYGO funding to the Airport Piedmont obstruction removal project in the fiscal year 22 capital budget. A public hearing notice was posted on the county's website and published in the local newspaper, and council held a work session on this request on November the 16th.
Thank you. At this time, we open the floor for public hearing on resolution number 140, 2021. If you have any comments you'd like to make on this particular resolution, come to the podium, please. State your name and your county of residence and your concerns. Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing for resolution number 140, 2021. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution number 140, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution number 140, 2021 passes. Thank you, Mrs. Hurley. Mr. Wilbur, good evening.
Good evening. Next item is a public hearing on legislative bill number 2021-06, an act to amend the Wicomico County Personnel Manual, Chapter 15, entitled Leave and Holiday Benefits, to include in the listing of official holidays, Juneteenth, National Freedom Day.
Thank you, Mr. Wilbur. At this time, we open the floor for a public hearing on legislative bill number 2021-06. If you have any comments that you'd like to make, please come to the podium, state your name, your county of residence, and your comments or concerns.
Do we need a motion first?
Seeing none, that concludes the public hearing on legislative bill number 2021-06. Entertain a motion from council to approve legislative bill number 2021-06.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to point out that this goes in hand with the federal holiday, and I believe the state as well.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll vote on legislative bill number 2021-06 by roll call. We'll start with Councilman Dodd.
Aye.
Councilman Hastings.
Aye.
Councilman Ackley.
Aye.
Councilman Kane.
Aye.
Councilman Davis.
Aye.
Councilman Holloway.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Legislative bill number 2021-06 passes unanimously.
Next for your consideration is resolution number 141-2021 to amend the 2022 operating and capital budget to transfer from contingency in the amount of $74,250 to increase the old court building capital account in the same amount of $74,250. This funding is to cover the cost of the design and work associated with the new electrical system in the old courthouse. And we do have Mr. Pete Matthews here, the General Services Supervisor.
Well, Mr. Matthews, how are you?
Fine, sir, yourself.
Good. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 141, 2021.
So moved.
Second. Second. Discussion.
Can you explain what happened? Because you remember we were doing a lot of work, and you guys did a great job restoring a lot of that courthouse. What's
This concerns the 1930 portion of that building. 2 years ago, at least 2 years ago, we started having trouble with the steam heat system, and we determined that the pipes within the walls and in the floors are failing. We literally had steam coming out of walls. Not high pressure, but still steam coming out of the walls. So we had to shut a whole loop down in the building to continue occupancy. That being said, we fixed a couple leaks. You fix one, two more pop up. We had planned even before that time, to begin looking into a new HVAC system for that building. Right now, there are 4 completely different types of systems in the building that have just been added and added and added. We have an engineering study in progress for the HVAC system in the work, and that work revealed the condition of the electrical system, which can't support the new HVAC system. It's just been piecemealed and patched, probably since the early 40s, the electrical system, and it's time to bring it up to date, modernize it, and make it safe. We've got breaker panels over there that we can't even get breakers for. So this money is to do an engineering study to provide a design, specify equipment, and get us up to speed so that we can install this new HVAC system and have the supporting system that it needs to run it. That's it in a nutshell.
And that is a historic building, and it's a gem for Wicomico County. So we do need to find what's best. Is the electrical system such a problem that it may cause a fire?
Bluntly, yes. Some of the wiring in there is, well, a lot of the wiring is original to the building, and it's the fabric insulated wire.
And
we need to, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to the building. The building itself, it was a bomb shelter. The walls are either concrete, cinder block, or brick. It will stay there when others won't. So we need to invest the money in it to keep it operable and make it safe for the employees and the general public.
Any other questions from any of the council members?
Does this qualify for any of the Maryland Historic Trust grants that would be out there?
We have not really looked into that, but it's my understanding they don't necessarily cover systems. They would cover the facade, which none of this will be seen.
Okay.
But we will continue to look into it. But I've got to get the study done, figure out how much everything else is going to cost. But we've got pretty close estimates.
Any other questions?
Are you expecting that there's going to be a, going to essentially go from 4 systems to 1? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Or-
Yes.
That's great. I just want to say I really appreciate you working on this and putting your attention to this. I mean, we've been hearing horror stories for years from employees of what they've had from working through that. And we've got a great group of folks that are working inside that building who would put up with a lot. But it's a great building. It'd be great to be able to get it into a really good usable space. So thank you for doing that.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 141, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, resolution passes. Thank you very much.
Next is a submission of a new appointment and 1 reappointment to the Wicomico County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission is an advisory body on planning, zoning, and development issues, including rezoning, subdivision, and site plan review. Next is the approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Hurley. I think we'll take each one, since there's only 2, I think we'll do each one at a time. Entertain a motion from council to approve Resolution 142, 2021.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Just for clarification, it is confirming the appointment of G. Matthew Drew to the Wicomico County Planning and Zoning Commission. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes.
Next is Resolution Number 143-2021, confirming the reappointment of Minister George Mandel Copeland to the Wicomico County Planning and Zoning Commission.
Entertain a motion to approve Resolution 143, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
just a question, how long are these appointments for?
Good question, Larry. Anyone?
I believe it's 4 years.
5-year term?
Yes,
Either
Mr.
4 or
Wilbur?
5, I'm not.
It says a 5-year term on the.
Yeah.
5-year on these? Okay, because some of them were different. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 143, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried, resolution passes. I'd like to thank Mr. Drew, and I'd also like to thank Minister Copeland for their putting their name forward and their appointment. Thank you, Ms. Hurley. At this time, we open the floor for public comments. If you have any public comments that you'd like to make, come to the podium, please. State your name, your county of residence, and your concerns.
There we go. My name is Bill Duck, and I'm a lifelong resident and taxpayer of Wicomico County. I come tonight with a question. Why is the leadership of Wicomico County government refusing to assist the hundreds, if not thousands, of households in this county without access to broadband internet? I've heard for too long that the free market's going to solve this problem. The government needs to stay out of the way, and businesses will fill the need. Well, Comcast has had about 2.5 decades to offer me cable service. They haven't. I've literally had Comcast customer service reps tell me we'll never offer service to that neighborhood. Verizon apparently has no intention of laying an inch of fiber optic cable on this side of the bay. The free market has long ago forsaken and abandoned the rural taxpayers of this county when it comes to broadband, and it seems the leadership of our county government has now as well. As a teacher in Wicomico County Schools, I had to drive 50 miles round trip from my house in Fruitland to my school at Mardella, back and forth every day for months to sit in an empty classroom to teach virtual classes last fall because I don't have access to broadband internet at my home. I live 1 mile away from the nearest serviced Comcast house, but I'm in a broadband desert. The cell phone hotspot that I rely on for my home internet doesn't allow the speeds necessary to conduct Zoom meetings, transfer large files, or upload video, tasks that any modern educator needs to be able to do. More than a few of my students at Mardella had consistent issues with not being able to log into Zoom and do assignments due to lack of broadband internet. Not that their parents couldn't afford it. It simply isn't available to them at any price. Unlimited data hotspots from the Board of Ed offer temporary solutions, but you cannot buy one of those as a consumer. I emailed each member of this body and the acting county executive more than a month ago asking what the county government could do to assist Chop Tank Fiber in its plan to solve this problem. I heard from multiple members on this council, both Democrats and Republicans, who emailed and called. But acting county executive Pasota and former council president Larry Dodd, the leaders of this county's government at the time, refused to even respond to my email. We have a solution sitting right in front of us, Chop Tank Fiber. A map showing household service by Chop Tank Electric and an accurate map of the houses that Comcast refuses to serve would be practically identical. There is ample state and federal grant money waiting to be used, money that does not have to be paid back. We have a local electrical cooperative willing to wire the very homes that need it. We just need the leadership of this county to ask for that grant money. And for some reason, the leadership of the Wicomico County's government has refused to do so. So my question remains, why is the leadership of Wicomico County's government refusing to help its own rural taxpayers get broadband internet access? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Duck. Any other public comments? No comments, all right. Seeing none, that concludes the public comments for this evening. We would turn to council comments. Any council comments?
I would like to address that. Usually when an email sent to multiple council members, we usually have one point person. We don't like everybody bombarding you, but I will address that. I've asked I emailed you personally because you're my representative. But I'll tell you, I've asked, and other members of this council has asked Mr. Pasota numerous times, what can we do to get broadband? We've had not Comcast, but we had Chop Tank in here. So yes, we have been working on that, and I do appreciate you coming forward and addressing it to us because it is something that's out there. Not only is it available, but there's ARPA funds that are available for it, and that's another thing that I asked for. Why can't we use that funding for broadband? Not only broadband, but we need it for water and sewer, and we need it for public safety. So thank you for that. And I also want to say that for the last 2 years, I've had the honor and pleasure to serve as president of the Wicomico County Council. I'd like to personally thank Ms. Hurley, Ms. Sandy, and Mr. Hitchens for their support. They are the backbone and of the day-to-day operations of the legislative branch, and we couldn't do it without them. I'd also like to thank former council attorney, Mr. Bob Taylor, and current council attorney, Mr. Andrew Mitchell, who's out today due to medical. And I'd like to thank the council and the citizens for their support as well. I look forward to continuing the work for the citizens of District 3 in Wicomico County, and thank you again.
Thank you, Councilman Dodd. Any other council comments? Mr. Hastings.
I'll just say certainly with the broadband issue, that is something that we need to continue to advance. And I know the acting county executive was working on that. I think the more that we could find out, I know there's been a lot of information about that in the news lately. So we've got a lot of citizens who have been reaching out. So certainly the more that this body and the acting county executive's office can do to help citizens understand what our next steps are, I think that would be really important. Broadband is a utility, and it needs to be seen as that way. And for a long time, it hasn't been seen as a utility. It is indeed a utility, and it's vital to our well-being. So, yeah. And thank you, President Dodd and Vice President Holloway, for your service to us.
Thank you.
I too would like to thank Vice President Holloway and President Dodd for stepping up with your leadership. It's a much appreciated for the past 2 years. And thank you, Mr. Davis and Mr. Cannon, for continuing that. I just want to give a quick update on broadband. I know, unfortunately, Mr. Duck, this does not cover your area, the area that you live in, but in District 2, Maryland Broadband Middle Mile Fiber Project from Quantico to Bivalve is with the utility companies right now. So they determine if poles need to be ready to hang and install fibers. As you may know, District 2, there is a lot of groundwater, so we're unsure right now if that's going to be able to go into the ground or if it's going to have to be on poles. The bivalve to Waterview project is in the ride-out stage because it goes to the utility companies to determine, again, if the poles need to be made, because there are no poles there, period. So that's just an update from the District 2 broadband topic.
Any other council comments?
Yeah, just a couple quick comments. Larry and Joe, thank you for last year, and look forward to working with John and Ernie in this upcoming year. Mr. Duck, your comments are very apropos. I mean, this is, just can't think of a more critical issue for our county. Actually, today at my Rotary Club, the speaker was Maryland Broadband. And I do know that the executive office did put an RFP out for providers. That was, 2 weeks ago, I believe, Ms. Hurley, about give or take. I think those may be back. I'm not sure if the deadline's done for that or not. I mean, there is some progress being made. Yeah, we did have actually Chop Tank here speaking to us as well. There's some very sensitive timelines coming up here in the next month or two for funding that's available to this county, that has to be given serious consideration. So, so I mean, like I say, your comments are very apropos, and certainly it's a major issue that it's now becoming very, very time sensitive.
Any other council comments? Yeah.
I'd like to thank Joe and Larry for their leadership for the past 2 years. And like Bill said with the broadband, it is time consuming. The sad thing is that our own delegate, our pro temp, Cherie Sample Hughes, initiated the legislation to get broadband on the lower shore. And the money is out there, as you said, Mr. Duck. There's plenty of money out there. And unfortunately, we're the last county to tap into it, even though our delegate initiated. So, of course, yeah, we did drag our feet, and we're still dragging our feet. And if we don't tighten up, like Bill said, it's time sensitive. We don't act, we will be left out in the cold, Wicomico County. So if we don't act fast, we will be behind the 8 ball.
Any other comments? No. Under presidential comments, I'd like to thank the council members for their support. I'd also like to, as was said before, I'd like to thank Councilman Dodd and Councilman Holloway for the 2 years of service, and congratulate Vice President Davis on your nomination, your election. Looking forward to a great year in 2022. That being said, there's Mr. Hirschberger with the Wicomico County Public Libraries. I'd like to recognize you, and also like to recognize John Palmer with the Wicomico County Board of Education, and also Mary Shawnee as past president of the NAACP. And do we have the president of the? I'm sorry. Thank you very much. It's good to see you here. Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it. In addition to that, attended the Del Mar Christmas Parade. I know a lot of us did, as well as the Salisbury Christmas Parade. And they were, I think, two of the best parades we've been in several years. And it was good to see everybody getting out. There were so many people. You'd come around, you're in the staging area, and then you come around, and the one thing you have to worry about more than anything is how much candy you have in order to get from the beginning of the parade to the end of the parade, because the last thing you really want to do is run out when you've just thrown 3 pieces to this child, and the one right next door gets nothing, right? So you can't do that. So you turn around the corner, and we turned around the corner in Del Mar and went, oh my gosh, all you could see were people lining the streets on both ways for at least, I don't know, a couple miles. So, but we did okay. My biggest mistake was I thought we were at the end, and I gave literally the last 6 pieces to this one kid that was sitting there, and my wife goes, hey, John, we have to go here now, and there's another turn and another street. So we did what we could with that. And in Salisbury, they changed the route, so it's a lot shorter, but I thought it was, I liked it. It was much more personable, because you could literally, you were from me to Joe in some instances, to these people who were there watching the parade, and it was a lot of fun. So I'd like to congratulate both Del Mar and the city of Salisbury for the great job that they did.
JC's.
Yes, thank you, Larry. Yeah, the JCs as well.
And if you hadn't eaten so much candy before you got there, you would have had more to give out.
Joe, I thought the comments were already over with, right? No, it's so true. Yeah. I had my grandson helping out as well, and he did an excellent job, and he picked out the pieces he wanted to save. And our biggest problem was he did a great job at 5 years old throwing the candy, and we had to tell him not at the faces, you got to hit the sidewalk, you have to hit the street. So anyway, it was a good time, and congratulations to Del Mar, Salisbury, and you're 100% correct. The Salisbury JCs, they've been running that project for years, and they always do a great job. That being said, I'd like to entertain a motion, if I could, to adjourn from legislative session to go into closed work session pursuant to the local government article, section 3-305B8, to get an update on pending opioid legislation to protect the attorney-client privilege.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Does this really have to go into closed session? I mean, we had an explanation pretty much of this at that meeting at the Civic Center.
Thank you.
Is there anything that's sensitive that needs to be?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with the agenda. It's been the advice of Mr. Wilburn, and we'll continue on. We can follow up with it later.
There's issues of strategy that we'll be discussing.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you all for attending.